did we last look at in the types of changes? Which type of change did we last look at? That's the question. Yes, Belinda. Belinda, which type of change did we last look at? Okay, Belinda can tell us.
Sorry, hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, I'm just a parent. I was inquiring before my child can give the answer. I was inquiring, can you please share the link for where you put your work, the homework, classwork, the Google links?
Okay.
The link, could you share it in the chat?
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, we add towards the, okay, Eric, are you able to, Eric, are you able to share the link for the Google class? Okay, so let's go to Elvis. Yes, Elvis, what? Yes, Elvis?
Yes.
Okay, someone said we looked at changes. So we have already looked at very many types of changes. So which one did we last look at?
Physical changes.
Very good. So we last looked at physical changes. That is what we last looked at. So meaning that we have already looked at biological changes. We have already looked at chemical changes. So lastly, before this lesson, we also looked at physical changes. So what are physical changes? What did we say physical changes are? What are physical changes? Yes, yes, Caroline, what are physical changes? Sorry, I wanted Caroline Adeke. What are physical changes? Catherine, what are physical changes?
Physical changes are changes which happen in our environment and are irreversible.
And are irreversible. Okay, okay, well tried, but also let's listen from another person. How about Johanna? Johanna, what are physical changes? Are you agreeing with Catherine? What are physical changes? Johanna?
Physical changes are changes in which no new substance is formed and can be reversed.
Very good, very good, very good. Catherine, when we talk about physical changes, these are changes where no new substance is formed and can be reversed. So these changes can change from one state to another, and it can go back to its original state. So we looked at some of the examples of physical changes. We looked at examples of physical changes. Can we mention some of the few examples of physical changes that we looked at? Apoyo? Apoyo, can you give us one example of physical change?
Evaporation.
Very good. We have evaporation. That is one. Evaporation. So I want you to be able also to explain to me when we talk about evaporation. So what is that change? How does that change happen? Very good. Very good. So let's go and listen to another person. Yes, Joseph. Apart from evaporation, Joseph Mutese. Yes, Joseph. Sorry, yes, Joseph, you can.
Rusting.
Oh, Joseph, when we talk about rusting, that is not a physical change. Rusting cannot be reversed. Here we are looking at changes which can be reversed. So when you talk about rusting, there you are talking about a chemical change. So rusting is an example of a chemical change. So chemical change, they cannot be reversed. But with the physical changes that we are talking about, these changes, they do not form any new substance and the change can be reversed. For example, if you talk about evaporation, what is evaporation? What is evaporation? Abdul, what is evaporation? So that we can look at this. Yes, Abdul.
This is the process by which liquid changes into gas, e.g., water, to vapor when heated.
Very good, very good. So remember now a process by which liquid changes into gas. For example, water to vapor when heated. So that vapor, if you trap it, let's say you are boiling water and you cover the saucepan which you are using to boil water. So that vapor which is going to move up, it will reach a point when it reaches the saucepan cover, it will again change into liquid. So that is why we are saying evaporation is an example of a physical change, because it can change into vapor, then from vapor can again be changed to liquid. So let's give other examples. Let's give other example. Queen says, Jasmine.
Condensation.
We have condensation, very good. Dorcas.
Sublimation.
We have sublimation, very good. Juliet. Yes, Juliet. Juliet is not able to talk to us. Juliet, why are you not able to talk to us? So I just encourage you to read the notes that we have given you, please. Those are some of the examples of physical changes that we have. So at the beginning, when we were looking at types of changes in the environment, we looked at very many types of changes, very many. We said we have biological changes, we have chemical changes, we have physical changes. We also talked about natural changes. We also have man-made changes. So today we are also going to look at another type of change in our environment. This is the type of change that we are going to look at. Okay, this is what we are going to look at today. This is what we are going to discuss. So we are going to discuss these types of changes that you are seeing on your screen. So I would like someone to read for us. What are we going to look at today? Trina. Magoba, Trina, what? Yes, can you read for us? Hey, Magoba. Sorry, okay, let's have Comfort. Comfort, can you read for us what we are going to discuss?
Natural changes.
Very good, Comfort. So we are going to look at natural changes, the natural changes. So
Natural changes.
Thank you, Trina. Thank you, Trina. Okay, I think you were just taking long to unmute yourself. Thank you. So this is what we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss natural changes. Now, the first thing that comes in my mind is, what are natural changes? This is the first question we should ask ourselves. When we know natural changes, the meaning of natural changes, that means we shall be able now to give examples. We shall be able to know what are these types of changes, and so on, together with their effects. So what are natural changes? That is my first question for today. When I talk about natural changes, what do I mean? Yes, I know some of you learners, you may be knowing something which is called natural. So something which is natural, you must be having an idea about it. So when we talk about natural changes, what do we mean? What is the meaning of natural changes? Yes, let me have some few learners here to explain to us, to give us the meaning of natural changes. I have Marian. Marian, what are natural changes, Marian?
Natural changes are changes made by God.
Aha, these are changes made by God. Something natural is made by God. No human being is involved in it. So that is what Marian is saying. Can we also hear from another person? Another person. We have Care. There are very many people here. Favor, P5. Favor, can you also give your view about natural changes? Favor. Oh, again is Daniela. Yes, Daniela, you can give your view. What are natural changes according to you?
Natural changes are changes that happen on their own.
Very good. Natural changes, these are changes that happen on their own. Yes, that is very correct also. So these are some of the correct answers, members. Whatever you have defined, you see when something is made by God, it is natural. So let's define it in this way. Let's define it in this way, not far away from what you have said. Here we are saying natural changes are changes which take place on their own by the help of nature. Natural changes are changes which take place on their own by the help of nature. These changes, if they are taking place, it does not involve any human activity. Teacher Tony will not go and make these changes to take place. They will just take place by themselves. This is what we are calling natural changes. Remember, some of the biological changes also we say they are natural because they take place on their own. Are we together? So, but we are going to look at other examples of natural changes. But before we look at this, we should also know that these changes they are very dangerous to us. The natural changes that we are talking about. These changes are very hazardous to human life. Hazardous here means very dangerous to human life and can easily lead to massive loss of life once they occur. These natural changes that we are saying, they are very dangerous to human life. That is what it means by hazardous. Hazardous, hazard, from the word hazard. Hazard is something which is very dangerous, something which is very risky. So they are saying that these are very hazardous to human life. Natural changes, once they happen, once these changes take place, they can easily lead to massive loss of life. They can easily lead to loss of property. So we are going to look at these natural changes one by one and how dangerous they are. Number one, examples of natural changes. So I want Anthony to read for us example number one. Anthony, can you give us example number one, Anthony?
Flood.
We have read what we have written there. Yes, flood is one of them. Thank you. Flood is one of them. Anthony, read what you are seeing.
Prolonged drought.
Very good. We have what we call prolonged drought. All of you, you may be having idea about drought because you may talk about it in SST. So when we talk about prolonged drought, what does it mean? It is a change, by the way. It is natural change, but we need to understand what it means when we talk about prolonged drought. What does it mean? Yes, Matthias. What's the meaning of drought? Matthias?
Lightning.
Oh, Matthias is saying lightning. Well tried, Matthias. Okay, you are talking of lightning, but here we are talking of drought. Yes, Elton, can you assist? Elton, can you assist?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, what do we mean when we talk about prolonged drought? What does that point mean?
A period without rain.
It is a long period without rain. Sometimes even it has just happened of recent. When I call people from the village, how are you people doing? Said, teacher, here we don't have rain. We don't have rain. Our crops are drying in the garden. So you can see that's a change. So sometimes there is that period where there is no rain, sunshine is too hot. So that is what we are calling prolonged drought. It's a natural change. It happens on their own. So that is one. So somebody has said prolonged drought is a long period of time without rain. Staying for a long time without rain. Sometimes you find you are there for like 5 months, you have never seen a drop of rain. 6 months, you have not seen drop of rain. 3 months, you have not seen drop of rain. That is what we call drought. So you will find everything is drying up. Crops in the gardens are drying up. You will find animals are dying because we need water. So this is why I said that natural changes, sometimes they are very hazardous. They are very dangerous to human life. For example, when we talk about prolonged drought, that long period of time without rain, what does it cause? One, once drought happens, they kill very many animals and dries up what? Different plant species. That is the danger. That is the danger of prolonged drought. So here the main point is you need to know that prolonged drought is an example of natural changes. And what it means is that it is a long period of time without rain. So when we stay for a long period of time without rain, it will affect us in very many ways. Number one, once it happens, very many animals will die. Secondly, even the plants that we have in the garden, they are going to dry up. And at the end, it will cause for us what we call famine. People will not have what to eat in the future. So that is one. Two, we also have this. We have what we call earthquakes. Can everybody say earthquakes? Okay, Marianne, can you say earthquake?
Earthquake.
Very good, earthquake. And then we also have, if in Phoenix, now I cannot pick you because of your name. I don't know any name called in Phoenix. So you can rename yourself. We have Stephen, you have got lost. Okay, members, let's continue. I wanted someone to, now, Aaron, yes, Aaron, can you read the second point, the second example of natural changes, Aaron?
Earthquakes.
Okay, we have earthquakes. Now, with the earthquakes, this one normally happens, but not very common in Africa, in Uganda. Yes, it is there, but it rarely happens. Just like in other countries like China, you find earthquake, when it happened, it caused a lot of problem. So maybe some of you may not understand what earthquake is. So sometime when it happens, like I remember there was a time it happens when we were here, you find everything is shaking. They move underground. They travel underground. So you find everything is shaking. If you have water in the pot, you find it is shaking. If you have the house, you find the house is shaking. So that is the earthquake. So, oh, somebody, I forgot to, Aaron, please, once you participate, you mute yourself. Once you give the answer, you can mute yourself. So we are saying that when an earthquake passes through an area, it can cause cracks in houses. It can kill plants and animals. For example, in very many countries, Like it has ever happened in Japan, it has ever happened in India, in China. So when you see how houses are destroyed, whereby even if the house are having cracks, then falling down, you find people losing lives. So earthquakes is a natural change that takes place on its own. It is a natural change that takes place on its own. So that one we needed to know, that we have the earthquakes. Then the next one, we also have floods. Somebody already talked about floods. Now this one may be common in the places where we stay. This one you may know it, because the earthquakes is not very common here in Uganda. Yes, it happens, but it may not bring a lot of destructions. If you look at in Japan, where they have storage buildings, those skyscrapers, once the earthquake passes there, you find those houses breaking and falling down. And once you are inside the house, you die. Are you getting that? So that's a natural change. So we have another change called floods. We have floods. Everybody, can we say floods? Yes, can we say floods? So Elizabeth, can you briefly just explain to us what you know about floods? What does it mean when we talk about floods? Elizabeth?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, what do we mean when we talk about floods as one of the natural change?
Floods is a period with fast moving water without
Okay. Fast moving water. Thank you, Elizabeth. How about Jasmine? Jasmine, how about you? What do you understand by this word floods? Yes, Jasmine. Okay.
Floods are when it rains too much and then what?
Yeah, you are talking. Yes, you are talking. Jasmine?
No, I can't hear.
Somebody has been disorganizing. Let's hear from Ata.
Floods are when the water level rise up. When the water level rise up.
Okay, yes. So, okay, let's just explain it in a simple term like this. Okay, especially floods are caused by heavy rain in an area. Once it rains too much, and then water floods or remains stagnant without moving. We have some of the places here in Kampala where once it rains too much, you find water is rising up in like people are living in like in swampy areas. I don't want to mention some of the areas here, but yes, I can give you an example. Like one time I was coming from that side of Natete, Masaka Road, and it had rained seriously. As I reached Ndeba, for those who are staying in Kampala, I found Ndeba in a certain area there where they sell the spares for vehicles. The whole place was flooded with water after the rain. People were walking in rain. Vehicles could not move. So that is what we are calling floods. So once it rained heavily and the place is not good enough to contain water or to have the way where water can run, so you find such things are happening. So that is what we call flood, and it is a change. Because once water rains heavily, that change can take place. An area can have water, can flood. But once it stops raining, that water can disappear. So it is a change. So what does it do? What does it do? So once there is flood in an area, it can kill people. It can kill animals. Apart from killing animals, what else can flood do? Claire, Mirembe, apart from killing animals, what else do you think floods can do? What are the effects? What are the bad effects? Yes, Claire.
Floods destroy people's properties.
Yeah, can destroy people's property. For example, let's take for example where we are staying. Right now where you are. Once it rains, assuming that it floods now in your home, what do you think it will happen? One, things inside your house will have water, will be destroyed by water. That's why Claire is saying floods destroy what? Destroy people's property. Thank you, Claire. So that is what we are saying. So here, what the main point you need to look at, we are just trying to explain this point, but the examples of natural changes that we have looked at so far, we have looked at prolonged drought, we have looked at earthquakes, and we have looked at floods. There are very many that we are going to look at, very many that we may not even finish. So you need to look at these examples, since we said they are very dangerous to human life and animals. You can see, we talk about them and we can say they are bad effects once they happen. For example, if we talk about drought, once it happens in an area, you find animals are dying because they don't have water to drink. You find that the plants that people have planted in their gardens, the crops are drying up. So at the end, you will find famine. So when we talk about earthquakes, once it passes in an area, you know, for it passes with a very strong force underground, where it causes shaking of the ground. So it can shake the house, and if the house is not strong enough, you find there are a lot of cracks in the houses. Once it shakes the ground, you can find plants are dying. Are you getting that? Animals are dying because let's say the house may fall on an animal and it will die. So those are some of the bad effects of these natural changes. Then you talk about floods. So let's continue and see what others. We have that point. Yes. Can we have someone to read for us that point? Mwesigwa, can you read that point? Mwesigwa, yes. Daniel.
Landslides.
Yes, we have landslides. Yes. Okay. Preeti, can you explain to us what you understand by landslides? Preeti. Oh, Preeti, are you explaining?
Landslide is
You know what? Yes, landslides are landslides are landslides are particles that fall from mountains and hills.
So, members, you can find that when we talk about landslide, I may not even write the explanation there. So that is an example of natural changes that take place. So when we talk about landslide, this is the movement of like rocks or the earth down the slope. So if there are some areas in Uganda where landslides normally happen, and I think some of you may be aware of this. So you find that like when you are staying near those rocky places where landslides happen, you find it is destroying a lot of property, displacing people because the rocks will fall from up to the slope. So those who are living along the slope will be affected. So that is what they are calling the landslide, that massive movement of rocks down the slope is what we are calling the landslide. So sometimes it is caused by the rain, sometimes it is caused by earthquakes also can do that. So that is a change which we are calling natural. So landslide, it is natural. It happens on their own. So when we talk about this one, it occur and destroy a lot of property. People's property are destroyed due to landslide. It has happened in some district here, only that I've forgotten. If some of you are really very current, you can tell us some of the district where a landslide normally happens. Yeah? Can we ask Gideon? Gideon, can you try to guess some of the areas in Uganda where landslide normally happens?
In mountain areas.
Mountain areas, yes. Okay, I hear of a place called Bududa. I've never reached there. Sometime you hear in Kasese also landslides has happened there. So that's a natural change. And once they happen, they destroy people's property. And sometimes they can kill also. Are you getting? So they can also lead to loss of lives and so on. Remember at the beginning, I told you these natural changes are dangerous. Then we have another example. We have another example. Another example, we have that. Yes, Calvin, what other example of natural changes have I written there?
Heavy storms.
Very good. Can you try to briefly explain to people heavy storms? What does it mean?
Heavy storms like when it's raining too much and then there is lightning which comes with power and it can cause flames.
Okay, okay. Yes, Calvin, thank you so much. I think you have the idea about heavy storm. Can we also hear from Oloro? Yes, Ethan, you have heard what Calvin has said. Oloro, yes. Ethan, heavy storms. So when we talk about heavy storms, it is a natural change. You cannot bring it by yourself. So this is simply bad weather, very bad weather with very strong winds and rain and thunder, lightning, you get? So if there is that very strong wind, rain has come, there is a lot of thunder and lightning. That is what we are calling heavy storm. It is also very dangerous. So natural changes are most likely to be very dangerous to human life. So that is what it means by heavy storm. That very bad weather with strong winds and rain, thunder and lightning happening at the same time is what we are calling heavy storm. The wind movement, when it's moving very strongly, and then there is that heavy rain, there is thunder, there is lightning. So they can destroy houses, they can destroy plants on a very large scale, heavy storm. So we also have another one, the formation of rain. Yes, formation of rain now, this one may not be hazardous. It may not be dangerous because all of us, we need rain. So the formation of rain also is a natural change. It occurs on its own. Remember, there are processes that are involved in the formation of rain. For example, you can talk about evaporation, you can talk about condensation. So these are some of the processes that are involved in rain formation, or in what we are calling the water cycle. So rain formation is another example of natural changes. So that one I've not talked much about it because we have learned about it in our primary 4. Then also we have that one. Okay, who can read for us the next one after that? Diana? Diana, can you read that? Diana, please. How about Ibong? Oh, Diana has come in. Yes, Diana, can you read the next point? Okay, I think Diana is getting difficulties. How about Angulo? Angulo, can you read?
eruptions of volcanic mountains.
Yeah, we have eruption of volcanic mountains. So this also normally happens, and once it happens, it is also dangerous. I think this one I brought an example. This one I picked from the recent one that has happened from, is it Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. You saw that thing which was moving all over the social media. So you see something like fire happening on top of the mountain. So that is what we are calling eruption of volcanic mountain. So once it happens, it can kill people around, destroy properties, because what you are seeing here, what you are seeing happening in the picture, it is not going to remain up there. They are going to melt, they are going to melt, they are going to fall down. So there are people who live around mountaineers, around mountain areas. So once this thing happens, that means those who are living here will be affected. It can get you when you have not run away, can kill you. Even if you're going to run away, you are going to save your life. How about your property? It will also destroy your property, because all these mountain, all these rocks will fall down, and then it will be very dangerous to you, to your life. So those are some of the examples, but we also have very many other examples of natural changes, which we might have not talked about, like faulting, the wind movement. I've already talked about the heavy storm, the rotation of the earth. Those are some of the examples. Now, before we look at weather changes in the atmosphere, I want us briefly to see whether you have been attentive. Give me 4 examples of natural changes. Name 4 examples of natural changes. Let me start from, now when I pick you, you name only one. Leave others to name others. Joseph, can you name one? Can you give me one example of natural change?
Hailstorm.
Yes, Joseph.
Hailstorm.
Okay, I've not heard Joseph clearly. Let me get someone else. Okay, but you were talking of something like hailstorm. I've not heard. Abe, Rebecca, give me one example of natural change that we have looked at.
Prolonged drought.
We have prolonged drought. Very good. Very good. Yes, Shema. Shema.
Landslides.
We have landslides. Very good. We have landslide. Let me pick someone from there. They are my friends down there. They don't want to put up their hands. Oh, slowly by slowly. Yes, Calvin. Calvin, give us another one apart from the one mentioned.
Earthquake.
We have earthquakes, so we have mentioned so far.
That's not you.
We have mentioned so far 3. Thank you. We have earthquake. Okay, then lastly, let's pick from Pal. Yes, Pal. Pal.
Earthquake.
We have earthquake. Very good. So those are some of the examples. You can talk of floods. You can talk of formation of rain formation. You can name them, the floods, the earthquakes, heavy storm, volcanic eruption. So those are some of the examples of natural changes that we have. You should also be knowing their effects. You should be knowing their effects also. How dangerous are they if they happen? For example, if we talk about prolonged drought, how dangerous is it to plants? So it dries up plant species. How dangerous is it to animals? It can kill animals, because once there is prolonged drought, you will realize that you don't have water to drink. And yet people say water is life. Water is very important in our body. So those are some of the things that you need to know. So let's talk about weather changes also briefly. I want us to look at now some of these changes, and then maybe I will leave you with the task of looking at their effects. When we look at some of these changes, because we talked about weather changes in the atmosphere, or atmospheric changes, climatic changes, they fall under the same. When you talk about weather changes, you talk about atmospheric changes, you talk about climatic changes, they are all the same. Then also we talked about man-made changes. So let's summarize these changes today. And then when we are going to have our next lesson, we shall talk about their effects. We shall talk about their effects. Now, I want some of these key points because for me, I'm teaching science. I don't know SST, but there are children here who have already learned SST. For me, I've never sat in the class for SST. Now let me hear from you. I want you to begin giving me the meaning of atmosphere. What does it mean when we say atmosphere? This one that I've underlined with the red. What does it mean when I say atmosphere? Before we look at the examples of those changes, let us first know the meaning of weather and know the meaning of atmosphere. Yes, who is ready? Who is ready to explain to us? Who is ready to explain to us? I wanted to do something here and then I pick my learners. Okay, my learners. Sorry. So let's have some few people to give us the meaning of atmosphere. Timothy, Muga, Timothy. What do we mean when we talk about atmosphere? Timothy. Sorry. Chitibwa Salom.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, what do we mean when we talk about atmosphere? Okay, thank you. So members, in simple term, when we talk of atmosphere, just in simple term, you say atmosphere is the space around the earth. That's the simple meaning. The space around the earth is what we are calling atmosphere. So we are going to look at the changes that take place in the atmosphere, the weather changes that takes place around the earth. So what do we mean when we talk about weather? In our SST, in our science, we say weather is the average daily condition, of the day recorded for a short period of time. So the condition, remember here we are talking about condition. So that means we have condition of weather and we have elements of weather. So when we talk about condition of weather, this is where now examples come in. So we have now condition of weather. That is what we are talking about, examples. Weather changes. So weather changes over time, and there are very many factors which make weather to change. So what are some of these? For example, we have, can you now give me some of the examples of weather changes that you know? Yes, those are the examples, those are the factors we are talking about. Yes, Dennis. Yes, Dennis. Kivumbi Dennis. Give me one examples of weather changes. Yes, Kivumbi. We are there waiting for you. All right. So we have some of these. We have cloudy. Remember, we talked about the condition. Yes, we have sunny, as you have said. Okay. Now here, some people can now mention for us because I've already given you at least the clue. Anthony, yes, Anthony. Apart from those two, what other examples of weather changes we have?
Windy.
We have windy, very good, very good. So when the day is, on that day you find it is windy, on that day you find it is cloudy. Now someone can ask you, what is the weather now? This is a question which is ever in P4. I mean P1, P2, P3. For me, where I am staying, the weather now is sunny, where I am staying. But you may be staying where the weather now is rainy. You may be staying now where the weather is cloudy. But where I am staying, it is sunny. Cleopatra, what is the weather now where you are staying, Chloe?
The weather now is sunny.
Where you are staying is also sunny. Oh, that means you are almost where I am staying also. Or can we say countrywide the weather now is sunny? No, we cannot say. Arthur, how about you? Arthur, how about you?
It's cloudy.
It's cloudy where you are staying. Okay. So those are some of the weather changes that we have in the atmosphere. Cloudy, sunny, somebody has talked about rainy, somebody has talked about windy, and so on and so on. Sometimes weather changes you can talk of temperature, you can talk of humidity. So those are some of the weather changes that we have in the atmosphere. So temperature and so on and so on. Because sometimes you may find the temperature is very hot, you can find the temperature is very low, the temperature is very high, depending on where you are located and depending on the weather. Are we together? So those are some of the weather changes that we have. So you see, these are very simple things for us to learn. Now, having looked at this, natural changes, weather changes, what else are we remaining with? We are remaining with what we call man-made changes. Man-made changes is what we are remaining with. Now, I want you to now give me man-made changes. These are changes that takes place due to human activities. These are changes that take place due to human activities. And this is where we are going to summarize our lesson. And then I will tell you what to do after this. Okay, so now this one is your part. Okay, Christabel, can you give us one example of man-made changes? Christabel?
Changes in plants.
Changes in plants. Christabel, what do you mean when you say changes in plants? Christabel, explain your point. Support your answer, please.
Okay, like I mean, sometimes plants change.
Sometimes. So now, is there any human activity involved when you say changes in plants? If you say plant grow from young to mature plants, that may not be as a result of human activities. So let me try to give you a clue on this. These are changes which are caused by man's activity. I want you to give me changes which are caused by man activities in the environment. What are those changes which are caused by man's activity in the environment? So we have very many man's activities that are done by man.
Killing of animals.
Killing of animals. You have given us that killing of animals is a change. Okay, let's listen from you people. Let me listen from you. If we had a blackboard, I was going to be writing. How about Elton? Elton, can you give us one?
Fishing. Fishing.
Fishing, very good. Overfishing, very good. Fishing, very good. Okay, let's hear from Paul. Yes, Moses?
We have fishing.
Fishing, very good. Someone has already mentioned fishing.
Mining.
What?
Mining, teacher.
Mining, very good. Extraction of minerals, very good.
Farming, teacher.
Farming. How about Gloria and Dorcas?
Marketing.
Market. Okay, mention them. Okay, so those are some of the good answers.
Accidents.
All right. Thank you so much.
Brick making.
Bricks making, bricks laying, those are some of the changes you are talking about. The man's activity. So one we have one example of man-made changes. We have, oh, there is that word which they are saying, deforestation. Can we all say deforestation? Again, I can't hear you. Yes. How about Caroline? Caroline, can you say deforestation? Caroline? Okay. What is deforestation? What is deforestation? Is that the change that is caused by human activities? Yes. What is deforestation, Ruth? Ruth? Yes, Ruth, what is deforestation? Oh, Ruth, you were trying to explain and then you went off. Okay, let me pick someone else. Okay, let me try to, yes. Okay. Some of you are running away. Hamis, what is deforestation? Hamis? Amis. Very nice name. What is deforestation? Miguel?
Yes.
What is deforestation?
What is deforestation? Deforestation is the cutting down of trees in a large
In a large scale.
In a large scale of number.
Okay, thank you. But you can easily say that deforestation is the massive cutting down of trees. The massive cutting down of trees. You cut very many without even replacing. So that is the human activities. Remember, people go and cut trees because they want to burn charcoal. People cut trees because they want to use it for building. So it is a change which is made by man. So where there is forest, you find people have cut down the trees and you find there is no forest. So it has changed to where there are no trees. So that's why we are saying man-made changes. These are changes which are caused by man's activities on the environment. One, we have deforestation. Two, we also have construction of roads, bridges, pit latrines, and dams. So these are some of the changes. You find people construct roads across the river. People construct bridges, people construct roads across the forest. So what happens now? How does it become a change? So when you construct roads across the forest, meaning that you are going to clear the forest so that you can have clear roads passing. How about the pit latrine? So these are some of the man-made changes. Then the third one, we also have what we call crossbreeding. Can we all say crossbreeding? Yes, when we talk about crossbreeding, this is also done by a man. It is the man's activity. So if I can explain to you what crossbreeding is, especially it is done by farmers. For example, if you want to improve the quality of your local breeds, now you are keeping, let's take, for example, we are talking about goats rearing. So you have some exotic breeds of goats and you have some local breeds of goats. So when you want to improve the quality of your local breeds, you can crossbreed. You can bring the male exotic breeds of goats to mate with the female local breeds. So they will produce what we call hybrid. Therefore, the hybrid will be of a better quality than the local breeds. So that is crossbreeding. Now, sometimes they ask you a very important question, which you really need to know. Sometimes they ask you a question about this. In science, they may ask you, how can the quality of animals be improved in the environment? So if you have local breeds and you want to improve the quality of that local breeds, you do what we call crossbreeding. So the best answer when somebody asks you, how can we improve the quality of animals in our environment? You can say through crossbreeding. So crossbreeding is whereby you get them the male, maybe exotic breeds, and then you allow it to mate with the female local breeds, and then they will produce a quality breeds, which may be called hybrids. So that is done by human activity. It is the human being that does all those kind of improving the local breeds. We also have what we call thing. So we also have on my line, we also have what we call existing. So you find where trees has been existing, cut down the trees, you replant. You cut down the trees, you replant. So that is what we are calling reforestation. Then we have also what we call mulching. Mulching is the covering of soil surface with dry plant material, which is called mulching. Someone is disturbing my line. Then lastly, we have what we call some of the man-made changes. There are very many that we might have not talked about them, but these are some of the examples that you need to know about man-made changes. So in this lesson, you should be able to give examples of natural changes. You should be able to give examples of weather changes or climatic changes. You should be able also to give examples of man-made changes. So therefore, this is the task I was saying. I want you to go and read about this. I want you to go and read about the effects of various types of changes to plants, the effects of changes to plants, effects of changes to animals and the people. This is what I want you to read. Otherwise, thank you so much. That is all from me. Unless you have any question, then there I can allow you to ask. If you have any question on what we have learned so far, otherwise, thank you so much. Okay, for now, I can allow Eric to come in if he has anything to add on. Yes, Eric? Okay, let me try to ask some of these few people whether they have question. Aaron, do you have any question? Or you want to add on something, Aaron? So learners, I think that is where we are going to stop. But all these notes that we have talked about, you can find it in your Google Classroom.
Teacher.
Yes, please.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Teacher, I have a question.
Let someone with a question ask. Not all of you to talk, but I wanted Eric to show you something.
I have a question.
Okay, I wish. Yes, please. Now I cannot identify the person who has the question because most of you are having your hands up. Yes, Eric, there is a question that was asked at the beginning. Can you try to post the link for the Google Classroom? But of course, we also have it in the timetable. Okay, for the parent who had asked before, we have the code for joining Google Classroom on the timetable. If you go to the timetable, you will find that code is there. So Eric, all right. So let me try to ask. Yes, Beatrice, do you have a question, Beatrice?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let me try to ask some few. Nicole, any question? Okay. Thank you. How about Mercy? Mercy, please. Abel, do you have a question? Andrew? Yes, Trevor. Yes, Trevor, go ahead.
Goodbye.
Hey. Thank you. Enoch. Enoch?
Yes.
Okay, do you have any question? Do you want to supplement? Do you want to say something?
Goodbye.
Okay, so members, thank you so much for being good children.
I have a question.
Okay, you can go ahead and ask.
Bye, teacher.
I have a question to ask.
You know what you want, teacher.
You have a question on
Teacher,
how
bye.
to?
Teacher.
Yes, please. Andrew, please, you talk. Trevor. Okay, members, I think
what is
that
pollution?
Okay, so Trevor is asking that what is pollution? Before we go ahead, is there anyone to give us what pollution is? Okay. Any child with the answer when we say what is pollution? Yes. So let's answer that question. What do we mean when we say pollution? What is pollution? Anyone with the answer? Okay, Alice, do you have the answer when we talk about pollution? So when we talk about pollution, maybe in simple term, is just introduction, is the introduction, the present or the introduction of some toxic substances or harmful or poisonous substances into the environment. For example, it can be the smoke from the industry. where there is industry, that smoke, that pollutes the environment in terms of smells, you get. So the introduction into the environment, some of the substances, like the smokes from industry, some of you dump there like plastics, bottles into the environment. That is what we mean by pollution. So if you may, you can see, I have here some of this. I have here, this is what an example of pollution that we are talking about. You can see what is happening in these pictures. The introduction of things like the vuveras. Look at this one. This one here. Are you seeing? This is what we call pollution. Throwing there the things that can pollute the environment, harmful to the environment, or harmful to the human life. You can look at this smoke from the industry. That is what it means by pollution. So I hope I have answered my girl who asked about what pollution is. Okay. So members, please, our time has gone. Our time has gone. Okay, let me try to just